live out in Arizona and I get to be a part of some very interesting tech meetups. A conversation I had with some decision makers behind multi-billion-dollar technical investments is the reason for today's video. So buckle on your thinking cap. I can't promise you that I have all the answers, but what I do have for you are the right questions. And if you are asking yourself the right questions, you will find the truth. First of all, to set the stage, Arizona is a pretty incredible place in the United States for technological innovation. In early 2024, Arizona State University, one of the largest public universities in the U.S., serving over 180,000 students and offering 800 plus degrees. Oh, and by the way, for 9 straight years, named the most innovative university in America, was the first one to partner with OpenAI, not only telling their students and their faculty, hey, it's okay to use AI, but actually purchasing licenses of ChatGPT for the faculty to use in creative ways in the classroom. This has set a precedent in America. And then in 2020, TSMC chose Arizona to build their advanced semiconductor manufacturing fabrication. The U.S. Department of Commerce got involved, and this is a deal past $40 billion at this point, with no less than 3 fabs being built by TSMC right here in Arizona. This is a $65 billion investment TSMC has now done in the U.S. This is a build project that will go all the way into 2028 because of the size of these plants and what's going into all of it. Anyway, that was pretty detailed, but all that to say, I pay attention to the innovation in Arizona, and I think that you should too. In this tech meetup, I heard from someone involved pretty high up in a VC funding company with a background of military experience and a ton of different investments in the tech space, as well as a cybersecurity expert. I heard that quantum computing is already out. It's here. We've got stable qubits. It just hasn't been released to the public because private equity is holding on to it. Now, sadly, I couldn't get these people to agree to come on my podcast and say that. In fact, the cybersecurity expert joked with a very dry laugh that if he were to say that, his life might be in danger. From a near 2-hour conversation I had with them, I knew that they weren't full of crap. One of them was actually flying out to the UAE in the morning and then had a call with Asia at 2 a.m. on its calendar. But it prompted me to put this video together, which is where I'm going to explain a little bit more about quantum computing, the power and the crazy potential I see in it, the risks, the dangers, and I'm going to lead you down this rabbit hole of a question. Is quantum already here? Hey, if you're new around here, welcome. I'm Julie McCoy. I'm the president at Brandwell, an AI-powered growth platform that makes website traffic, we're talking in the hundreds of thousands of visitors per month range, as easy and simple as just clicking buttons. Brandwell develops human-like, high-quality, amazing content that will make your brand look like a rock star on the internet, except you didn't even have to write it. I sold my writing agency of over 100 people, and I am fully all in the AI age. I believe we are accelerating towards a future very few folks can even imagine, and it will be here sooner rather than later. When these people I met at this Arizona tech meetup explained that quantum is already here, even to the point of being commercially viable, they also made the prediction with a lot of confidence that we're going to see AGI in 3 years or less and ASI in 5 years or less. This actually lines up with Ray Kurzweil's prediction of AGI here by 2029. But first, let's define quantum computing. So current computing works in binary logic of zeros and ones. A quantum computer replaces the binary logic with the laws of quantum physics that allow it to perform computations at way fewer steps. In other words, a quantum computer is a superpower developed around this one thought, taken seriously, that we live in a multiverse. Listen to the founder and lead at Google Quantum AI, Hartmut Neven, where he talks about how quantum computers obtain superpowers by tapping into parallel universes. Here's a clip.
That we live in a multiverse. It can be seen as farming out computations to parallel universes. Let me explain. In quantum physics, the key mathematical object to describe many worlds is called superposition. To understand what it is, let's look at this simple system. You just need 3 bits to describe it. Each coin is a 2-state system, heads or tails, 0 or 1. We look at a start state. If I were to know which forces act on the system, then I can predict its trajectory and future states. This is how we reason in classical physics and also in everyday life. But if we were to treat this as a quantum system, then it can branch into many configurations simultaneously, and we have to keep track of all those trajectories, interfere them to make an accurate prediction of what states we are going to see the future. So the equations of quantum mechanics tell us that at any time, any object, myself or the world at large, exists in a superposition of many configurations.
Now, if you search Reddit and all public forums for an answer to a timeline on quantum computing, you're not going to find it. I even asked ChatGPT, O1 with reasoning, and of course, because it doesn't have real-time research directly tied into the model, it has a hard cutoff after October 2023, but it did claim after several promptings that there is no evidence to support that quantum is already here, and that private equity is holding it hostage. Now, of course, ChatGPT, even O1 with reasoning, is not a universal source for truth. You have to take everything it says with a grain of salt. It hallucinates, it can even intentionally deceive the user. I went over that on a recent video about what Ilya Sutskever saw and why I believe he's developing SSI, because there is intentional deception in this model. But anyway, getting back to the question, when is it coming out? When will quantum computing be here? I think this one answer pointed out by somebody on Reddit sums up where it's been for a long period of time. Quote, we're always 15 to 20 years away, end quote. No one really knows. Now that said, there have been breakthroughs because big tech companies are making quantum computing their focus. One is Google Quantum AI, and another is IBM. I asked my good friend, fellow YouTuber Dave Shapiro, his thoughts on quantum computing. He too believes it's not actually commercially viable. Was my tech meetup with these secretive VCs and cybersecurity experts just an endless rabbit hole? That's for you to decide. But we do know that IBM has been working hard to pivot to AI and quantum, and a shout out to Dave for sharing this info with me. IBM is actually selling off old school business units because they believe quantum is the next cash cow. IBM was an early leader in computing. If they're making this bet, they might be right. This year, they've been making a lot of progress. This September, they actually completed a major expansion of the IBM Quantum Data Center in New York, which operates the highest number of available utility-scale quantum computers at a single location in the entire world. So yeah, IBM definitely has some monopoly here, and they are currently offering quantum computers to global clients via their IBM Cloud. Late last year, the IBM Quantum Heron processor was introduced, and that processor is now deployed inside IBM's global quantum data center. Through the IBM Heron and IBM utility scale systems, IBM users can build quantum algorithms for their industries. Qiskit is IBM's quantum software stack built to simplify programming quantum computers. All in all, IBM has 250 clients bought in to develop their idea, discovering quantum computing and its capabilities. The truth is, we're going to need more computational power to achieve AGI, and beyond that, ASI. AGI systems need to process and learn from almost infinite amounts of data. This requires unbelievable computational resources. Nuclear energy is another direction that big tech companies are going in. This September, it made a deal to reopen the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania. But classical computers processing information at the binary level, aka bits, instead of qubits, is incredibly inefficient for complex problems, the ones we're going to have to solve when AGI is here. Through qubits, which represent multiple states, made possible because of this radical idea of a multiverse, which is being present in multiple states at once. Entangled qubits can represent complex correlations between existing states, and this allows quantum computers to process a vast number of possibilities all in parallel, instead of one by one. Quantum computers could, in theory, even reduce energy consumption because they don't need as many computational steps to perform the tasks in AGI. Now, there's a ton of challenges and risks when it comes to quantum computing, which is probably why it's not here commercially widespread yet. First of all, it would threaten almost all cryptography and encryption because it could solve for that in a matter of seconds. Cryptographic systems underpin the security of everything from financial institutions, from financial transactions we do online, to data storage, communications, etc. Imagine the online world instantly rendered vulnerable and encryption no longer exists. exist? Well, that's a big fat problem. If you could instantly decrypt all sensitive information, every transaction we do online is at risk. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin that use cryptographic techniques could be completely broken by quantum computers. And then you talk about military infrastructure. If quantum computing can de-encrypt any kind of military communications, satellite link, critical infrastructure control systems, well, there goes our national security. What we also need to build a successful quantum computer for widespread commercial use is an insane amount of energy consumption. Now, to address the encryption problem, there is this idea of post-quantum cryptography. IBM is actually working on it, where we build the solution to the problem before we launch the problem, meaning we have quantum-safe cryptography figured out and in widespread use before we launch quantum computing. If we can develop cryptographic systems secure against both quantum and classical computers' threat to encryption, then quantum computers can exist without this threat occurring in society, which is a pretty serious one. Quantum-safe cryptography rebuilds the cryptographic vault. Quantum cryptography is another idea that relies on the natural laws of physics to produce secure crypto systems. And as I mentioned, IBM is pretty heavily involved in this side of it too. The limitations of computational power is a very real thing in the path to AGI and ASI. Quantum computing is an incredible idea. If humanity can achieve it, or if it's already been achieved, as I heard at an Arizona tech meetup the other day, then we will be living in the future very, very soon. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think quantum computing is already here and under hostage in private equity? Or do you think we still have a ways to go? It does seem like IBM is head and shoulders putting everything into winning the quantum race, and they are well on their way there. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. As always, hit subscribe to my channel here on YouTube at Julie McCoy so we can go down the next AI rabbit hole.